Hey friends, welcome back to your newest obsession, the NeuroSpicy MomPod. If you've been here before, welcome back. I have missed you. And if you're new, welcome in. This is your cozy corner of the internet where we say the quiet stuff out loud. No judgment, no fix yourself energy, just honesty, a little bit of sparkle, and a whole lot of nervous system safe storytelling. I'm Austin Marie, Scorpio stellium, recovering teacher, neurodivergent mom of 2 spicy kids, psychology nerd, chaos witch, and maybe your new best friend who understands what it feels like to live in a brain that is a little spicy. This is Season 3, Episode 1, and I wanted to start by telling you not just who I am, but how I got here and where we're going together this season. And if you've been with me this whole time, I have to tell you again how much you mean to me. Every single listen is not just a number on a screen. It's literally support for me, for my kids, and for these dreams I'm building from scratch. You're literally helping me create a life where I get to do what I love and share it with you. So when I say thank you, I mean it with my whole NeuroSpicy heart. So who am I? Well, that depends on the day, the moon phase, and how much coffee I've had. But here's the truth. I grew up in an environment that I know now created my cPTSD. At the time, I didn't have that language. I just knew my home wasn't safe and that I had to perform, mask, and people please to survive. Later, as an adult, a therapist would finally call it what it was: complex PTSD. On top of that, I was undiagnosed autistic and ADHD. But instead of support, my teachers just shrugged and said I was really bad at spelling. Here's the flip side, though. I was an out-of-this-world reader, always one of the top readers in my class. By middle school, I was tearing through books that were way above my grade levels and my emotional bandwidth. I mean, there I was at 13 reading Wally Lamb's I Know This Much Is True, a psychological novel about twins, trauma, and mental illness. Totally age inappropriate, but that's when I discovered one of my deepest hyperfocuses: psychology. School overall came pretty easily to me, but not because I was magically disciplined. I was thriving because of my environment. I was very privileged to be able to go to a private Catholic school that had very explicit expectations. I'd known my classmates since kindergarten, so there was predictability and familiarity. And it was a college prep program, so structure was built into everything: agendas, accountability, teachers checking your progress constantly. All of that scaffolding held me up. Of course, the second I graduated high school and went off to college, poof, all of that scaffolding disappeared. No more built-in accountability, no more familiar faces, and I crashed hard, failed miserably. But that's a story for another time. So fast forward, I became a teacher, which still cracks me up sometimes because the girl who couldn't spell and cried through math tests grew up to be the one running a classroom. But here's the thing. I didn't just become a teacher. I became a transitional kindergarten teacher, which is basically like wrangling 20 tiny humans with Velcro shoes, paint on their hands, and the energy of 1,000 suns. It was chaos. Beautiful, exhausting chaos. And that's where the rewiring started. Here's the wild neuroscience fact. Before the age of 7, kids don't filter language. Everything you say to them goes in as truth. Not maybe, not that's just their opinion. Nope, straight into the operating system. So if you tell a kid, you're terrible at this, their brain locks it in as identity. I am terrible. But flip it around. If you say, you're learning, you'll get it, you're enough, their brain codes that. And that becomes the foundation they carry. So every morning we did affirmations. We sang songs about bodies and boundaries and kindness. I let kids say no. I gave them alternate choices when things felt too hard. I set the bar high, but I built scaffolding with safety and words that wrapped around them like a hug. And here's the kicker. While I was pouring those affirmations into them, they started seeping back into me. Day after day, year after year, I was saying things like, "You are kind. You can try again. You are enough." And without realizing it, I was reparenting myself. My nervous system, this system that had been locked in fight or flight my whole life, started to believe me. My heart started to soften. That's when I realized those words aren't just cute teacher tricks. They're regulation. They're neuroplasticity. They're magic spells we cast on kids and on ourselves. And that's what teaching gave me until I couldn't ignore that my marriage was slowly killing me. The more I rewired my brain, the clearer it got. I was living in an environment that made regulation impossible. My marriage was unsafe. With the help of a local women's organization, I started the terrifying process of leaving. But trying to show up as calm, cheerful Miss Teacher while my life was collapsing, it became impossible. I leaned hard on my staff and my student teachers. They held the classroom together when my glue came apart. And then my doctor finally looked at me and said, "You have to stop. Step away." Walking out of that classroom was the hardest thing I've ever done. As a people pleaser, as someone who didn't yet understand my own neurodivergence, as someone who still thought my worth was tied to holding everything together, it felt like I was being selfish. I went on disability, not knowing if I would ever go back. I let myself fall apart. My mask couldn't hide the cracks anymore. My nervous system was fried. And I need to pause here to say thank you to my classroom aides. You too went to battle for me. When other staff didn't understand what was happening, you did, and you had my back. To my student teacher, who, let's be real, ended up stepping into the role of a teacher when she should have been learning from me. I am so proud of her, and I am so grateful that she was the one beside me that year. If it hadn't been for her compassionate soul, I don't think I ever would have felt safe enough to finally turn my focus inward and take care of myself. And I also need to say this. To the students and parents of that year, I'm so sorry. You didn't deserve a distracted teacher or disrupted learning. You deserved consistency, and I couldn't give that in that season. My heart is so sorry for that. Even now, my heart still aches that my time in the classroom ended like that. But I am also so thankful because those years gave me the foundation for everything that I'm doing here with you now. So what is this podcast? It's me, still doing the work I started in that TK classroom, creating safety with words, practicing regulation, reminding us that our worth doesn't come from outcomes, building that magical force field of love and self-love, this time not just for kids, but for us too. This is where we talk about the messy stuff. We name it, we laugh at it, we cry about it. We stop pretending we're fine. We make space for truth. And in that space, we heal. So where are we going this season? We're going to talk about masking in motherhood, how much of ourselves we feel like we have to hide. We're talking sensory struggles in everyday places like haircuts, grocery stores, doctors' offices. We're diving into the gift and grief of hyperfocus, parenting PDA kids without losing our minds, hormones and PMDD and PCOS, and why neurodivergent brains sometimes feel like they're in constant PMS mode. RSD, the reason one text message can ruin your whole week. We talk about relationships, loneliness, and love when you're neurodivergent. And yes, we're going there with spirituality because NeuroSpicy spirituality is real and it's magical and it's a part of the story. Plus, I've got incredible guests this season, therapists, educators, creators, and parents who are all building their own force fields of safety and love in their own lives. This season is going to be sparkly, sometimes messy, but always real. So that's what's ahead, and I just want to say thank you for being here, for pressing play, and for leaning into the messy and the magical with me. If you haven't already, hit follow or subscribe so you don't have to go hunting for episodes when they drop. And if you feel called to help keep this cozy corner of neurospicy healing alive, you can support me over on Patreon at patreon.com/the NeuroSpicy MomPod. Every bit helps. And here's something fresh for Season 3 Patreon subscribers. I'm launching a brand new series called NeuroSpicy Tea. It's going to be a safe, sacred space where you get to tell your own neurospicy story. If you're curious or feel called to share your story, slide into my DMs anywhere, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Patreon, YouTube, literally anywhere you're getting cozy. And I also love lifting up small neurodivergent-led and women-owned businesses at the end of my episodes. So if that's you, or if you know someone, send me a message and I'll send you the forms to get your business featured. Until then, take a deep breath, unclench your jaw, drop your shoulders, and know this: you're not broken, you're building, and you are beautifully, wonderfully not alone. Until next week, ta-ta!